Hello and welcome to yet another build guide for Diablo 4, and today we'll take a closer look at the Sorcerer with a really cool flame wall build. So with this build you will burn anything and everything around you, and you will have no problems clearing the room. As you can see, those are my skills, and here you can see all my aspects, which we will talk about later on. And here is the build in an overview, but of course I will show you how to go about leveling up the Sorc from 1 to 50 as I did in my other build guides. If you enjoy this video, a thumbs up would be really appreciated, and if you want to stay up to date on all things Diablo, please consider subscribing to the channel and activate the bell notification to never miss a video. But now let's jump right into the skill tree. As always, you can find this build linked in the pinned comment down below. So we'll start with the Firebolt, and we put 2 points in that. And then we head over to Chain Lightning, put 3 points into that and activate Greater Chain Lightning. If Chain Lightning bounces off of you, its next hit deals 10% increased damage. So this is really good damage output, especially against bosses. Next up we'll pick Glinting Firebolt. Critical strikes with Firebolt increase the burning damage you deal to the enemy by 20% for 4 seconds. And will burn a lot, so this is really good for our build. Next up, the next category, and we'll put 1 point into teleport, so we can teleport, and then 3 points into flame shield, and we'll pick shimmering flame shield because it heals us for 50% of our missing life when we activate the shield. So this is basically your get out of jail free card. If you take massive damage, you can use it for damage on bosses, for example, but I always keep it on cooldown just in case. Then we put another point into Chain Lightning to unlock the next category, and now it's time to pick the Hydra. Hydra received a really big nerf, but we'll use it to keep the enemies burning because Summoned Hydra also burns enemies for an additional 12% of its base damage dealt over 6 seconds. So enemies will burn a lot. Now we're at level 15 and it's time to unlock our first enchantment, and we'll go ahead and pick Chain Lightning. This forms another Chain Lightning automatically after spending 100 mana. So just a free spell once in a while, and it will deal a lot of damage. Now back to the skill tree, and we will activate Align the Elements. You gain 1% damage reduction against elites for each second you haven't taken damage from 1 up to 40%. This received a huge nerf, but it's still pretty good, so put 1 point into it. Then we'll put another point into Chain Lightning just to unlock the next category, where we will pick our main damage dealer, the Firewall. And we'll go ahead and pick the Mage's Firewall because enemies continue burning for 3 seconds after leaving your firewalls. Again, a lot of burning damage for a longer period. Now go ahead and put 4 more points into Firewall to further increase its damage and to unlock the next category, where we will pick Fiery Surge, at least for 1 point, then Endless Pyre, so we can get to Warmth. Every 1 second you heal for 0.9% of your maximum life for each nearby burning enemy. Healing is increased to 1.8% from bosses, so this gives us a lot of survivability. And that's the point where we can unlock Glass Cannon. You deal 18% more damage, but you also take 9% more damage. But we already covered the healing part, so we should be good. And now it's time to activate our second enchantment, and we'll pick the Firewall. Each time an enemy takes burning damage, there's a 5% chance to spawn 2 firewalls underneath them for 3 seconds. So a lot of burning enemies, and therefore a lot of firewalls for extra damage. Back to the skill tree again, and we'll put 2 more points into Chain Lightning as our second main damage dealer. Now we've unlocked the last passive, and we'll pick Easel's Ferocity. Your fire critical strike damage is increased by 25% against enemies above 50% life. Your fire critical strike chance is increased by 5% against enemies below 50% life. Killing an enemy with a critical strike grants both bonuses against all enemies for 3 seconds. And since everything's burning, you always get increased strike damage or strike chance. Now we put 1 point into Devastation, just to unlock Elemental Dominance. Your core skills deal 9% increased damage when cast above 50 mana. So more damage for our chain lightning. Now head down to your Firewall and put 1 point into inner flames and then 3 points into crippling flames. Your pyromancy skills have up to a 15% chance to immobilize enemies for 2 seconds. This chance is doubled while you're healthy. Now put 2 points into devouring blaze. You deal 20% increased critical strike damage against burning enemies. If they are also immobilized, this bonus is increased to 50%. Now put 2 more points into Fiery Surge to further enhance your mana regeneration, and Endless Pyre to increase your burning damage up to 15%. And that's it. Now we're at 49 points, and as always I'm only counting the points you get by leveling up. You've got 10 more points you can earn for Renown, and I'll show you exactly where you can use them. You could either put 2 more points into Inner Flames to further increase your pyromancy skill damage. You could put 1 more point into Devouring Blaze to deal even more critical strike damage against burning enemies. You could also pick Elemental Attunement for 3 points, so you have up to a 15% chance to reset the cooldown of one of your defensive skills. That only can happen every 10 seconds, but it's still good to either reset your teleport or your flame shield. And teleport is another good skill to put some more points into it. I would take the shimmering teleport. After teleporting you gain 30% damage reduction for 5 seconds, and also put more points into teleport itself so you can lower the cooldown. But that's it for the skill tree. Let's take a look at the aspects. So on the gloves we've got the aspect of the Expectant. Attacking enemies with a basic skill increases the damage of your next core skill cast by 5% and up to 30%. You can get that aspect in Skosglen by completing the Underroot. And this is really good because you use your basic skill and then enhance the damage of your chain lightning. Next up on the boots we've got the aspect of the Bounding Conduit. Gain 20% movement speed for 3 seconds after teleporting. You get that in the Dry Steppes when completing Comdor Temple. On the amulet I've got the Flamewalker's aspect. Coming in contact with your Firewall grants you 15% movement speed for 4 seconds. Cultist Refuge and Fractured Peaks is where you wanna head to. On the ring I've got the Prodigy's aspect. Using a cooldown restores 15 mana. You get that by completing Witchwater in Havezar. And on ring number 2 I've got the Incendiary aspect. Burning damage has up to a 5% chance to restore 10 mana. Unlocked by completing Tomb of the Saints in Kyrgyzstan. And lastly we've got the aspect of the Inner Calm. You deal 5% increased damage for each second you stand still, up to 30%. You can unlock that when you progress the campaign in Skosglen, so this is definitely a must-have for a mage. Other than that, the gameplay is pretty self-explanatory. Just use your pyromancy skills and you will deal massive damage and clear the room in no time. And that's it for the build. I hope you enjoyed the build guide. I hope you have fun with this build if you try it out for yourself. Let me know in the comments down below with which class you will be starting. I'm really curious about that. But I wish you all an awesome day and I'll catch you in the next one.